Well, hey guys, thank you to all my subscribers for coming back and supporting the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. For December, we're going to talk about our plans, and we're actually going to put a little pause on our geography study. We'll come back in January with Arctic and Antarctic, and I'll have lots of books for that and activities for that. But for Christmas, we're going to do a very merry Jan Brett Christmas, and the first book is Jan Brett's Christmas Treasury, and this book includes all of her well, not all of her stories, but 5 of her stories, and it includes The Mitten, The Wild Christmas Reindeer, Trouble with Trolls, The 12 Days of Christmas, The Hat, Christmas Trolls, and The Nightmare Before, The Night Before Christmas. And I haven't read all of these. I just thought it would be a super fun thing to do. Me and my daughter enjoyed Jan Brett's stories, and she has so many Christmas and winter related stories. I think her most popular books are The Mitten and also Gingerbread Baby. I couldn't get my hands on Gingerbread Baby. It's that popular for the Christmas time, but some of the other stories are really good too, and we've read a couple of them before. If you just want to get one book, I'd say go ahead and get the Christmas Treasury. I believe she has 2 Christmas Treasury books, and you can go on Jan Brett's website, and she has a list of all her books. Anyhow, so the next book is The Animal Santa, and this book is about some snowshoe hares that live in the forest, and the little snowshoe hare asks the big snowshoe hare, who is the animal Santa? And nobody in the forest knows who the animal Santa is, but they go through and they talk about all the wonderful gifts that they received the previous years, and they're really looking forward to the gifts for this year. And they show the little snowshoe hare everything that they got, and he gets like super excited, and then at the end you find out who the animal Santa is. The next book is Who's That Knocking on Christmas Eve, and this is about a boy and his polar bear, and they go to a little girl's house, and this girl, she creates a Christmas feast every year, but these troublesome trolls come and they always eat all her stuff and ruin Christmas. So she's hoping this year that won't happen. She hears a knock on the door and she gets afraid that it's the trolls, but it's actually this boy with his polar bear, and the polar bear kind of protects them and the Christmas feast, and you just find out what happens to the trolls, but basically the bear runs them off. The next book is The Nutcracker, and this is just a traditional story of the Nutcracker. If you don't know it, it's about this little girl whose uncle or a magician comes and leaves a nutcracker under the tree, and she picks it up and she falls asleep Christmas Eve, and the nutcracker comes alive, and there's a big battle with this rat king, and then at the end she realizes that it was a dream, but she really adores the nutcracker. And the reason that I picked this book is because we hadn't read it, for one thing, but secondly, we really like ballet, and we really like the ballet of the Nutcracker, and so I wouldn't say it's a tradition of ours, but we've seen the Nutcracker in person before Christmas in the past, and so I think it's like a really lovely thing. And also last year we watched the Royal Ballet on YouTube. They do rehearsals for the Nutcracker, and then you can also watch parts of an actual Nutcracker performance by the Royal Ballet and Opera on YouTube. It's old, it's like 5 years old, but really good performance, and it comes in little snippets. So if your child can't sit and watch a whole ballet performance, you can watch like the best parts of the performance. And we did read this one already. It's a really good rendition of the Nutcracker. And then speaking of the Nutcracker, this one's called The Noel of the Nutcracker. This is actually not written by Jan Brett, but it's illustrated by Jan Brett. And it's not a story of the Nutcracker in the traditional sense. It's a story of this little girl who finds this doll in the store, I believe. And then it's a story about this little girl and the doll. I haven't read this yet. I just kind of browsed through it. This is more of a chapter book, so it's also in black and white. So not like your traditional Jan Brett books, but the pictures obviously are very Scandinavian looking. And so the other thing I wanted to mention about Jan Brett is you can go on her website, janbrett.com, and she has some really good free printable activities. So we're planning on doing some of that. She also has a really cute countdown calendar or advent calendar that you can print off, and you open up the little parts of the calendar, and then in each day you can see a character from one of her stories, and I thought that was really cute. But check out her website. She's got lots of free awesome activities. And then the other thing that I thought was really cool is Jan Brett has her own YouTube channel, and so one thing that we're going to do to tie in with Jan Brett's stories is that Jan Brett herself tells a lot of her stories in a YouTube video. And so I thought that was really cool because you don't usually hear authors telling their own story. So I thought it might be nice to listen to Jan Brett herself retell one of her stories. And then on top of that, Jan Brett also has videos where she shows you how to draw characters from the stories. And my daughter really loves art, and so I thought that would be really fun too, to sit through a video and listen to Jan Brett show you how to draw a character from her story. But if you are not into watching YouTube videos, you can also go on Jan Brett's website, and she has detailed instructions on her website for how to draw characters from her book. So you can just read like her blog post or whatever it is, instructions on how to do it if you're not into watching videos. And then as a bonus, I like this Ready to Read Eric Carle and the Greedy Python. So this book is about a python who is very greedy. He likes to eat everything in sight, and so it goes through and it shows you all the things that he eats, and all the animals try to get away, and then at the end it shows you what happens to the python who's super greedy and eating everything. And I just thought this was a really funny book. My daughter really enjoyed it. She thought it was funny too. My husband enjoyed it too. And I just thought it was a really good book for the season to teach kids about being greedy or not greedy, and being kind and giving to others, those that are less fortunate. And then the last book is Where is the North Pole? Now this book really is not geared for first graders. I didn't know that when I got it, but it's kind of like a chapter book. They have different chapters in it, and it tells you a lot of history about the North Pole and the very first adventurer who went to the North Pole and the things that he found out there. And it was actually a guy from Pennsylvania. And yeah, it's pretty good, very long read, so you may only want to read a few chapters to a first grader, but maybe your older readers would enjoy this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book list. It's very short, but I hope I gave you some ideas that you can use along with Jan Brett's books. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday that you enjoy. I hope that you enjoy this festive holiday season, and I will see you in the next video.